So good afternoon, viewers. Today we have a 2019 GMC Sierra 5.3 and it's here for a number of issues. The main one is the check engine light is on. I did some repairs to the wiring harness by the ECM for the 5-volt reference and the fuel pressure sensor and AC pressure sensor a few weeks ago. And so this is a new problem or another problem. He also complains about a few other things. Says the engine light is on, P0455, so something to do with the EVAP system. Brake monitor system shut off due to alarm. Was reading 87% before it stopped reading. I installed new tow mirrors, but lights on the mirror need to be programmed. Don't waste too much time on these lights. I don't care if they work. Yeah, probably don't know if I can do that without SPS. Check trailer brake didn't work last summer, but you did fix a bunch of wiring in the fall, so maybe it's okay. Rear camera doesn't always work, another wiring issue. So we're going to do a network scan on it and see what kind of codes it has to offer. So I've loaded the vehicle history and I've got a clean battery charger connected to it. You can see there was a P018C fuel pressure sensor, air conditioning pressure sensor, fuel economy mode switch, and he even said his 4x4 was changing to four-wheel drive on its own, and all to do with a corroded open 5-volt reference, about 5-volt reference 12 inches from the ECM. So let's do a network scan of it this time and see what, I've long pressed the ignition button so it stays on. Should auto ID. And like I said, I have a clean battery charger connected to it, so and I set it at 13.6 volts, so it's showing 13.4 here. Come on, you can do it. Let's do a network code scan of all controllers. Stop with the focus. Large leak detected. Well, first and foremost, we have to check the vent solenoid to see if it's physically stuck. Rear brake pad wear signal circuit plausibility. Left front tire pressure. I think his tire pressure sensors are missing or dead because he's got aftermarket rims and upgraded tires. Serial data gateway processor module. I think the trailer brake system is part of the chassis control module. Transfer case codes, none. That's it. So other than the tire pressure codes and the brake system wear sensor, I'll have to look into what causes that C116B. This is the code that he brought it here for, was the P0455. So let's go into the engine control computer and I'm going to clear the code out of it. And data. No, I don't want data. I want bidirectional tests, functional tests. I want to see if I can hear that vent solenoid clicking. Output controls. Purge valve. Purge and seal. This is a capless system. Okay, where's the vent valve? I must have missed it. EVAP vent solenoid valve. Okay, key on, engine off. Venting. I don't hear it. I'm going to turn off the battery charger momentarily. Actually didn't turn the battery charger off, I just turned the fan off on the battery charger. So I don't hear the vent solenoid responding. Let's try a purge and seal test. I'll set it up. So I've got the vehicle running. I'm going to try a purge and seal test. I didn't check to see how much gas was in the tank, but if it's not within 15 and 85%, it won't allow the test to run. So let's see the fuel tank pressure in inches of water and the fuel tank pressure sensor voltage. It's got 47% in the fuel tank, so I'm going to turn on the purge solenoid, and it starts to build a vacuum in the tank pretty quick. And when you don't want to let it get too far, because if it gets over 10 inches of vacuum, 10 inches of water, negative 10 inches, it'll abort the test because of high vacuum in there. So let's click seal. Seems to be holding okay. I'm going to have a look at that filler pipe. So I pressed the little valve in the filler pipe. That's just a problem waiting to happen on that system. But I don't think that vent solenoid's working properly. Wow, it went to 13 inches of water. It's holding vacuum now. But that doesn't mean that vent solenoid's working, because it could be stuck closed. No, it wouldn't. It would continue to... Now I'm going to look at the code setting criteria for P0455. So I've loaded the vehicle in. Why did it do that? In Identifix, and I'm doing a keyword search for the code P0455. First we'll see if there's any bulletins on it. No bulletins. No cases on it, that's odd. Well, let's have a look. Conditions for running, large leak detected, 455. EVAP system failed, small leak detected or failed, large leak detected greater than a predefined threshold. Engine off, EVAP test conditions met, and test failed greater than a predefined threshold, MIL illuminated. Well, that's useful. Trouble is now it seems to be holding vacuum. Verify the following conditions do not exist. Damaged, defective, or loose components. Filler cap or capless type fill. EVAP canister purge solenoid valve. Evaporative emission pipe kinked or disconnected. It would be nice if they Yeah, the pressure must not exceed 13 inches of water. 0.5 psi is pressure in excess or vacuum in excess of that could cause damage. Well, I'm going to do some reading. So I decided to do a visual inspection just in case there was something obviously damaged here. That is the canister vent valve right there. It goes up to a filter somewhere up by the filler neck, I believe. That's the canister, and the purge line is here, and I checked it under the hood at the purge valve on the front of the intake manifold, and it's connected. I'm going to command this solenoid on and off while I stand under here and listen for it, because that usually is a sign of a stuck solenoid if you don't hear it clicking. Okay, so I'm loading the EVAP vent solenoid test. And I'm, So let's smoke test this thing. Got to command the solenoid on to not venting when we smoke test it. I'll get my smoke machine out. So I've got the smoke machine here set up, and I've connected it to the purge line going into the charcoal canister. And I got the solenoid energized or not venting. And I'm going to look at the flow gauge and watch if it's got a leak as it gradually builds up pressure in the tank. That should drop down to less than 10 thou. That's 40 thou right there. So there's no significant leak. It's down to 10 thou, unless it's in the line between the vapor canister here and the purge valve. We should test that line. I've got the solenoid energized right now. I'm going to de-energize it and see if it leaks off. Okay, so I'm going to click the venting tab. Now that solenoid's not clicking. It was clicking when I was trying it before. Let's try this again. Got the ignition in the lung on. I'm activating and deactivating it, and it's not doing anything. So I wonder if this solenoid is malfunctioning mechanically, because I'm sure it would set an electrical fault code. Let's put a test light across it and make sure that it's functioning. So I got a test light connected across the two wires. Not venting is de-energized. Venting is energized. So you can see the test light lights. Sometimes I use a Noid light, but I couldn't find it. But let's plug this back in again. And listen for this click. Oh, now it's going to work. So now the leak is present. I'm going to set this up so you guys can see this. So you can see the ball floating up high above 100 thou, and it's venting now, and I'm going to click the non-venting. And when it builds up pressure in the tank, it should drop down. But that valve wasn't clicking. And I was activating it with the scan tool, and it wasn't clicking. So I'm thinking that it occasionally sticks. I hate throwing parts at stuff, but sometimes you just gotta take your best guess, and I've had these valves stick before. As you can see, it's, and if we try the smoke, see the ball is dropping. Let's click vent again. Not vent. Well, I experienced that thing not clicking initially when I tried it, before I lifted it up on the hoist. So I'm going to call that solenoid. So I'm leak testing the line going to the purge solenoid, and I've connected the hose. Now it shows a leak. The ball should be floating up high, and I put it in the line, and it drops immediately. So the purge solenoid's not leaking, and the line between here and the purge solenoid is not leaking. So again, I'm gonna call this vent solenoid, but there's so many possibilities. That filler cap or that filler net could be leaking occasionally too. It's interesting there's no cases on this. So that solenoid is available aftermarket, but it's nowhere to be found at least a week to 10 days to get it. And it's the same price as the dealer. The dealer can have one by the end of this week, so I've ordered it from the dealer. Now we're investigating this C116B, and I see that there is a couple of TSBs referencing that. C116B after installation of GM brake pads. Let's see what this has to say here. The brake pads don't look like they've been recently replaced, but they're not worn out. There's about 1/8 of an inch of pad left. Maybe notice the BCM has set 16C, 16B, symptom 05. There are no warning lights or message display. The GM accessory performance brake pads do not utilize brake wear sensors. So ignore it. Are you kidding me? Okay, that's not what we want. Let's look at this. Calculates down. He said it was at 87% before the message came up. Quick drop in brake pad life shown on the DIC, which may be reflective of the actual pad wear. In some cases, comment to service brake pad message with ETC 116B. I don't remember what symptom it was. Symptom 5A. C116B symptom 5A. Symptom 59 and or software anomaly. So there's updated software to correct C116B symptom 59, but that's not the case here. Let's see what causes this code to set. Short to ground, open or high resistance. We should really inspect the wear sensor. I'm going to pull the wheel off and have a look at the wear sensor. So as you can see, there's a considerable amount of brake pad left there. But the wear sensor, if you look carefully at it, you can see it's broken. I think these sensors are way too thick because there's an eighth of an inch of brake pad left. There's more than enough to pass the safety inspection in Ontario. And yet this wear sensor is compromised. You can see the little copper wires. So it needs a brake job, believe it or not. A brake pad's replaced, but there's more than enough brake pad material on there to be safe. Whatever happened to the, the squealers? Well, they didn't work either, but these are a nag. So I'm going to cut the sensor and join the two wires together to get rid of the message. It's got to be replaced anyways. You buy the whole sensor. So I just cut the sensor off and spliced the two wires together and tie wrapped it up there. It's going to need to be replaced when the pads are replaced anyways, but that'll get rid of the nag for now. Like I said, there's more than an eighth of an inch of brake pad, and this wear sensor is designed to fail prematurely, in my opinion. This is the second or third one I've had like this where a customer was told he needed new brake pads. I think the sensor is incorrectly designed. Should be on this side. Oh well. So we'll use this IPA brake force meter to check the 7-pole trailer plug connections and see if they're working. These LEDs are insanely bright on it. Let's see here. 12-volt auxiliary power is there. Ground integrity shows good. Get set up here. Brake lights. Left signal. Right signal. And then the actual trailer brake itself. Step on the brake and apply the electric brake. Set at 8. Gain is set at 7.5. It came up on the screen there a second ago. Let me try it again. Yeah, 7.5. So everything seems to be working on this plug. I'm going to put some dielectric grease in it. So after doing a network code clear, the backup camera works. Put it in reverse, and it's working now. I don't see anything physically wrong with the wiring going to the camera. Let's see if there's any bulletins on it. So keyword search for backup camera on Identifix brings up some cases, and one mentions a TSB and an update to software problems in video processing module or the rear camera. Let's look at the TSBs. Rear camera missing guidance lines, vision message. That's the message. Missing rear camera guidelines. Service front camera, doesn't have front camera. Rear camera image flicker when brake lamps or turn signals are on. Well, when I was looking at the software, let's see. This doesn't have, so is it the video processing control module? Display codes. I don't think I had communication with this module. So I'm not sure if this has got the video processing control module, because there's so many different levels of options depending on what the truck is built with. But again, it's working now, so we're going to leave it alone for now. Discuss the option of updating, see if there's any updating software in the vehicle electronics. But that means connecting to GMSPS and all of that drama and paying for a subscription.